Hey guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over a story titled, My Girlfriend, a 30-year-old female, is mad at me for not wanting to put her name on the title of the house. And guys, this story is all about a guy. He's 27 years old. He is a doctor, just starting off in his career in medicine. And 10 months ago, he met a gal that really just knocked his socks off, if you will. She's 30 years old. Remember that number. It's a very important number. And long story short, it sounds like she, from the get-go, was doing the old love bombing. Bombarding him with love and affection, attention, all these things to rope him in, a young doctor with a very promising career ahead of him. And take a wild guess who's been pressuring him to not only rush along the relationship, but also buy a house. Buy a house where he's putting down all the money for the down payment, and she's putting down next to nothing. But of course, she wants her name on the title and also on to get married and all that. And thank the Lord, you're going to see that this guy, who's definitely in the clouds, has good friends and good family to smack some sense into him before he makes a huge mistake. And you're going to see how this whole thing plays out and the drama fest here. And ultimately, you'll see, and again, thank the Lord, he'll be all right. However, you listen to this story to see all the manipulation tactics and tricks both she and her mother, my dad, pull on him, and he comes this close to falling for it. And I'm doing this one, again, to show you guys why, for your relationship, guys, you must take your time. Take your time to get to know your girl and her family, my dad, and not 10 months and you're buying a place and getting her to move in with you and putting her name on the house and all that. It's crazy. And how I mentioned the number 30. For you who watch me often, you know, 30 is the number, the age, that scares the bejesus out of most women. I've never met a gal actually that wasn't terrified of turning 30, because that's the number that in their mind they know, oh crap, I'm in deep crap now because I'm not as desirable as I once was in my 20s. And they want to get that ring on their finger and rush into a marriage, all that. And right here, you're going to see the same thing. And also, guys, if you are doing well for yourself, you have a promising career ahead, there are gals that will be dying to rope you in and will do all sorts of tactics to make you think that you found the girl and she's so amazing, when it's an investment to get you to marry her and she could benefit in your promising career, particularly careers that have the reputation for having a very promising future, like a doctor or an attorney. Even though they may have massive loans for law school, medical school, in time those loans will be gone. They'll be making a hell of a lot more money. So be careful, all you guys. So it's a little long, but I thought it'd be worth your time. And you guys like late night long stories, so here you go. He says here, I've been dating my girlfriend for the last 10 months, and things have moved very quickly, to say the least. Red flag. We started living together after 1 month into the relationship. Smack. Are you out of your mind? Come on, is this the first girl to really pay attention to you? 1 month? Is the punani that good? We started living together after 1 month in a relationship. First at my condo and now at her mom's house. You moved in at her mom's house? What are you doing, her mom too? Our relationship has been great overall. We both love each other a lot. Although my parents disapprove because they're worried that they are after me for my money. I'm a physician and she works in a fairly low-paying and unstable field. So this is not going to work. If he is a doctor and over time through experience, he's going to make more and more, and she has a job working the register at Target, no offense to the people working the register at Target, that's not going to work. They're not in the same tax bracket, okay? He can be attracted to the pretty girl working the register at Target, but it's not a good idea in a relationship with him because she has nothing to lose and everything to gain. And you break up, guess what? She's making out like a bandit. I mean, if you get divorced. Around 5 months into the relationship, my girlfriend and her mom started looking to buy a house for us because they felt we were ready to get married. After 5 months, is this girl, I don't know, is the clock ticking on her life and you don't know about it? For me, I felt like we were moving too quickly, but I couldn't think of any reason why I didn't want to marry her because she is so caring and sweet and I'm happy with her. Smack! Dude, again, is this your first girlfriend? Anyhow, so I was initially hesitant to jump into buying a house with my girlfriend so soon, but they were saying that the house prices would go up in the future and that they had found a plot with extremely good land and future value where we could build a home. So I decided to go along with it. Smack! If you want to do it for yourself, fine, knock yourself out. Don't do it because other people are pressuring you, let alone some broad you met 6 months earlier. We just recently finalized the purchase agreement, though I don't officially own the title yet until the house is fully built. So far, we only had to make the down payment of 20%, which amounts to $203,000 since the house is worth $1.1 million. Wow, this girl working at Target or whatever low-paying job she has that's unstable certainly found herself the jackpot, huh? Because of her unstable income, and she was in quite a bit of debt, red flag, I ended up having to make the entire 20% down payment myself, which also took a $130,000 loan from my parents and $20,000 from my own bank account. It was a pretty stressful process, to be honest, and my girlfriend didn't help much. So he's borrowing most of the down payment from his parents. So his parents most certainly have a right to say have a say in some of this in terms of like, son, you're rushing into things here. We think she's using you. She was playing games while I was asking her how I can pay for this down payment and didn't really offer to contribute at all. I put the title of the house in my name because I felt I had contributed all the money to it. She wanted to have her name added to the title. Yeah, sure. I'm putting down all the money, borrowing the money from my parents, risking to destroy my relationship with my parents. You haven't contributed a fucking dime, and you deserve to have your name on the title, and we've known each other for 5 months? Yeah, I don't think so. But you see, guys, from her perspective, she sees how quickly she was able to rope him in. 1 month they moved in together, moving in with her mom, all these other things. She's thinking, I got this guy. I can play this game with him. I can be a hard ass, and eventually he'll cave and put my name on the title. That's her interpretation. When a guy rushes into relationships, commits too quickly, is too easy, they lose respect. Gold digger. At first, I promised her I would add her name and we would split the house 50-50 without thinking. But then I talked it over with my parents and close friends, and they advised me to keep the house under my name since I had put all the money in and since we weren't yet married. They urged me to discuss this with my girlfriend as soon as possible, which I did tonight. It made me realize I really hadn't considered what would happen if we broke up, and since we've been cohabiting for the past several months, we might be labeled a common law, which means she could claim 50% of the house. There you go. Just because he's a doctor doesn't mean he has the most common sense when it comes to this type of thing. I'm hoping when he's doing surgery, or whatever his specialty is, he's top marks. But when it comes to common sense in the love department, this guy's dumb as a fucking post. When I mentioned it to her, she got extremely upset, saying that I was being selfish and cold-blooded, and that I was questioning the future of our relationship. Manipulation tactics? This was not the case at all, but I just wanted to plan for the worst case scenario. I guess a part of me still fears being taken advantage of. She started crying, of course, and then her mom came downstairs and basically scolded me for 2 hours, saying I should not have brought this up and that I shouldn't listen to my friends and my parents because they are not always acting in the best interest and wanted to break us up. Hey lady, you're obviously defending your daughter because you will benefit from this as well. See, both of them, they're just plotting together and working together to say what they got to say to rope this poor dumb bastard in. I was very taken aback by all this, as I felt she was attacking my friends without even knowing them. She made a point saying that I shouldn't learn from my friends. She then said me bringing up the title of the house was done in a very hurtful way, and said that I didn't have enough love in my heart, that I was thinking in such calculating ways. Because you and your daughter are thinking in very calculating ways. And by the way, I've known your daughter here 10 months of her love bombing, and you, lady. However, I've known my friends and family for life, for a very long time. I told her that it's easy for her to say that when they haven't put down any money into it, and rely solely on me to pay for the house. Well, I'm glad he said that. I mentioned it was inconsiderate of them to start shopping for a house when they didn't have a solid plan for how to pay for it, except relying on me. She and her mom told me that in Chinese culture, the husband is supposed to buy the wife the house. So they're both Chinese. I pointed out that we weren't even married yet, and she said me bringing this up meant I wasn't planning to marry her at all. Then she said we were basically married because we were living together, which didn't make logical sense to me. Then she tried to guilt trip me into bringing up how I was living in their house rent-free for the last few months, and I told them it was not the same as buying a $1.1 million house. They kept insisting it was the same principle that I should give to them what they had given to me without thinking about fairness or equality since we are a family, even though we are not married yet. Dude, run. Run like the Flash. Run that there's a fire trail behind you. These two are nothing but trouble. Come on, bro. You're being used. I guess deep down, I do still have reservations that there is a small chance they may be conspiring to use me for my money based on the fact that they've been struggling financially and my girlfriend has a stable job, and they seem quite eager for us to get married and have kids and buy this house all within 1 year. Maybe they're going to be, maybe the green card is up. I don't know. Something's up here, obviously. When anything's rushed, particularly with money and things like this, bad idea. But again, I'm willing to bet you this girlfriend is probably a hottie. And obviously this guy's not used to getting this kind of attention from women and thought, I got my job as a doctor. Now the movies are right and I'm going to get women. And he's latching on the first one that gives him attention. This guy needed me. Says here, they just kept asking me, what are you waiting for? And won't accept my answer of, I don't know. I just need more time. Her mom told me I won't ever find someone better and I need to put a ring on it right away. This guy is 27 years old. He's just begun his career as a doctor. Are you telling me that he's not going to have opportunities with women going forward when his prime is just beginning? I mean, the early stages now? Come on, but they obviously know they can manipulate him. Of course, I cannot discuss my trust issues of the money with them for obvious reasons. I'm feeling a bit gaslighted here, you'd think. But I also feel like I could just be cold-blooded and selfish for thinking about money and not love. Smack! Dude, do not let them mess with your head. Right now, I'm torn between feeling like I'm being overly paranoid and selfish and insensitive, but bringing up who owns the house, or whether I'm being manipulated and gaslighted. Would appreciate an unbiased opinion here. Thank you. Now I'm going to go on to part 2, but in a moment. But I'll say this, and I'm sure you're all dying to say the same thing. Dude, you marry them, you're a freaking moron. That girl deliberately sought you out, love bombed you, knew all the buttons to push with you to rope you in, and this is what you're getting. And if there's smoke, there's fire. And the mother's working with her on this whole thing, and I'm willing to bet you, if they all want this all done within 1 year, there's probably a green card situation, and they got to go back home. And that's what's going on here. And you got to listen to your friends and family. There are times when you don't listen to your friends and family, and there are times that you do. And this time, that you must. But you see, guys, you see what I'm talking about? You can't rush into things. You need to take your time. And again, as I say all the time, if you're the type of guy that really wasn't rolling with the ladies in high school and college, and then you get your career begins, and a career that is known to make good money, or you got resources coming in, and all of a sudden the gals are paying attention to you like you're the fucking prince, you got to question that. It's not because suddenly you're desirable. It's not because suddenly the movies are right. It's because you got resources, and they want to settle. And be careful. Now to part 2. Now he's going to do his update here and say all the crap that you already heard before, so I'm going to skip over that. And he's going to go into the pros and cons of his relationship with this chick. First, he's going to go into the good and list all the things that obviously is going through his head and emotions, and then the bad, and how this whole thing plays out. It says here, the good. She is extremely sweet and caring 99% of the time. To rope you in. When we first met, she bought me an iPhone and would buy me thoughtful gifts all the time, even later when her finances were not doing as well. That was called an investment. She was investing in you, buying you these things to rope you in so she can get the big payday later on for life. She's also extremely affectionate and even now always displays her affection to me, to rope you in, even when I'm not paying attention. Some have said it is love bombing, ding ding ding, though it has been consistent throughout our entire relationship because she has greater goals than just you. The 1% was of her being upset or frustrated, and her tone of voice would be condescending or disrespectful, though we were always able to settle our disagreements very quickly. She was and still is a very reasonable person to talk with, and I feel like we can work through together as a team to solve problems. She is very emotionally mature and often knows me better than I know myself. Well, that's freaking dangerous. If you think she knows you better than you know yourself, she knows how to push your buttons and manipulate you, which she's been doing quite well. I've learned so much by being with her, and I feel like I've become a more caring person and in some ways more confident and capable. She is very thoughtful and always remembers the little things about me. She remembers all my favorite snacks and buys me them every month, until recently when finances were a struggle. Again, to rope you in. Overall, when I was with her, I felt happy and full of love. We were basically inseparable. I took a trip with her recently and made unforgettable memories. Meaning she gave unforgettable memories in the bedroom. So those are the good. And yeah, that sounds wonderful. But it's all rushed. And you can see the big picture when things are boiling down to the house and rushing a marriage and all that. Now we're getting to the fun stuff, the bad. It says here there were a number of red flags. I'm glad you can see it. Our relationship moved very quickly. We moved in after 1 month of seeing each other. We were spending all day, every day together with no boundaries. She had planned by the way, if they're together all the time, obviously as a doctor, I'm sure he's working at least 60 hours a week. And then when the hell does this guy have time to sleep if they're always together? She had planned out opening up a clinic with me as a doctor as the clinic with a 10-year rental contract, which I'd be locked into and responsible for paying overhead. Are you nuts? I learned soon after we started dating that she was making a lot of money by working for this wealthy doctor who had a romantic interest in her. So she has a history with doctors. Shocker. She cut off all personal contact with him after meeting me, though continued to work with him professionally even after he confessed to her for 2 months. How interesting would it be if she was hooking up with that doctor and bleeding him dry, and hooking up with this doctor and bleeding him dry? Imagine that. And there could be a third one. She told me she worked with him until she could find alternate jobs for her friends who worked under her, but it was still suspicious. That said, she never hid anything from me, and I always felt like I could ask her anything about this. I guarantee you she's hiding stuff from you, man. My parents have said for months in that they don't trust my girlfriend or her mom. Based on their words and expressions and red flags as above, not to say they've been right, but they do always have my best interests at heart. She told me very early on, about 2 to 3 months in, that she knew I was the one and wanted to spend the rest of her life with me. She wanted to get married, but said she would wait for me whenever I was ready. Well, it doesn't sound like she's waiting anymore. While this felt nice, it also felt like it was suspicious that she was so ready to commit after only a short amount of time. It is suspicious, and she's 30. And I do believe what I heard is that over in Asia, particularly China, I heard that by a certain age that would shock people here, they're considered to be in the leftover department. I think it's after age 25. I don't know. She's always been a very headstrong, confident person who didn't question her decisions. Also, she isn't keen on doing housework and will feel tired just from cooking for a few days or washing some dishes. Well, that's a problem. If you're a doctor working at least 60 hours a week, at least, and she doesn't like doing the dishes or the laundry or cooking, what's she going to do? Yeah, I get it, have kids, but still, she'll want you to hire somebody to do it and she can boss them around. After reminiscing and then sitting at home alone, my heart felt empty without this person. Smack! You've known her 10 months. You'll find some other chick. I couldn't reconcile the person I knew and loved from who she could be on the inside, if she really was after my money. I texted her that we should break up and then found a time in person to talk and exchange our belongings. He broke up with her by text. He is going to get a hellfire against him. I brought up all my concerns and told her I simply cannot trust her anymore. To her credit, she was very respectful and gentle. Yeah, until you meet up with her in person and she freaking whips your ass. It was difficult for me to face her, especially as she was extremely tearful and looked like she hadn't eaten or slept in 2 days. Despite this, she kept a loving smile on her face, and on the surface, she seemed genuine. This is how the conversation went. I told her that her mom was extremely disrespectful to me, especially saying that I shouldn't listen to my friend's advice and that I was selfish and cold-blooded to bring up the issue of the house title and rushing me towards marriage and kids. Well, good for him for saying what he has to say and basically telling her that her mom's an a-hole. She told me that her mom was just very upset that I brought up the issue because in Chinese culture, it is considered very rude to sign any contract or separate out individual rights when it comes to property that is going to be a marriage home. You're not married. I don't even know if they're engaged yet. I just think that they've been dating. And by the way, you're in America. She also said that her mom expected us to be married by the end of the year, and so felt that the house ownership was a non-issue, and was just hurt that I mentioned having a plan in case we break up, when to her, breaking up was not a possibility, since she had invited me to live in her home. It meant she already saw me as her son-in-law. No, she saw you as the provider. Since she was hurt, she said hurtful things without thinking. Oh, well, that excuses everything. She also said that her mom was rushing us towards marriage and kids because her mom's health was not very good. History of cancer and felt very unwell, but was afraid to get checked and didn't think she had much longer to live. Well, that's too bad, but doesn't mean I have to rush my plans in my life because of your mom. She didn't want her daughter to be alone in this world if something would happen to her. I'm sure her daughter is doing just fine without her mom, her teammates in this whole thing. She also said her mom had heard bad things about this friend of mine who gave me the advice to have this conversation. Since I told my girlfriend that this friend of mine cheated on his ex-girlfriend and then got together with that girl, so her mother felt like my friends are a bad influence on me. This is why you don't tell your girlfriend all these things about your friends, because they will use that against you. She told me herself, never rushed me with marriage or kids, which is true, and it's true that she told me she didn't even like kids in the past, but wanted them because I did. She said we could get married whenever I was ready, even if that meant she had to get a stable job first. I told her that I was very stressed about making the down payment on the house, and I had brought this up with them, and they didn't have any money at the moment to help. To be fair, her mother helped me get an extension on part of the down payment, $53,000 out of $203,000, by talking to the builder, but expressed no intention to pay any down payment. She said she asked me whether I had the money to make the down payment, and I said that while difficult, I did have the means to do so. And she said that she fully intended to honor her mom's promise to pay $300,000 towards the mortgage. Where is that $300,000? But the money was not ready yet. Sure. She also said that if it meant getting back together, she'd be willing to take money out to pay for half of the down payment. I told her it was too little, too late, and that her previous actions suggested she had no intention to pay at all. Good for him for not buying into her freaking sob story in tears. And if she had the money to pay towards the down payment, why didn't she offer it earlier? But now he's breaking up with her. Now all of a sudden, I can get the money, probably out of the other doctor. I asked her why they started to look around for houses before they even had gotten my agreement, and they said at the time they were just browsing the market without any intention to buy. At the time, I was on board with the decision to buy a house, though we didn't discuss any concrete plan or how we would split the mortgage in the future. Well, that would have been a good idea, wouldn't it? Also, since her mother had voiced about her culture that it was customary for the husband to buy the wife a house, I was concerned they wanted to put all the burden of paying for the house on me, and I expressed that I felt unsupported by her during this time. She can go find another doctor, and believe me, if she's pretty, she'll find some other sucker. She said she did ask me if I would be able to pay the mortgage in the future and showed me some calculations of the future mortgage. I told her it would be difficult and I may need her to help, and she said she would help as much as she could, but it wouldn't be 50-50. I was okay with that. However, I told her based on the fact that they didn't help me with the down payment and she doesn't have a stable job right now, I cannot count on her to contribute to the house in the future. Yeah, promises don't mean shit. You got a big mortgage payment to pay every month. The bank doesn't care about, I promise, or whatever. If you can't pay, you're in deep shit. She promised me she would look for a stable job in the next few months and that we didn't need to buy the house if we didn't feel ready. Girl, it's over. Accept this. Though through it all, she was very tearful, of course, and seemed genuine, and I was almost swayed. She brought up all the good memories we had, and soon enough, I couldn't hold back my tears. Remember when he said that she knows him better than he knows her, or she knows him better than he knows himself? She knows exactly what buttons to push. The tears, the promises, bringing up the good times. She probably grabbed his you-know-what or something, well, I'm not going to mention that. Both our places were filled with the memories of things we had done and bought together. She told me she respected my decision, bullshit, and told me she hoped in the future I would trust my heart and not let others, family and friends, make decisions for me. Manipulation. We both wished each other the best in the future and parted ways. It was kind of open-ended because I did not say there was no possibility of getting back together in the future. She told me she would wait for me forever if I changed my mind. She's not going to wait 5 minutes. She's going to be on to the next doctor like that. There probably is already one or two other doctors or another lawyer or somebody on her list. Afterwards, I went home to my parents' house and analyzed everything that had been said, and all came to the conclusion that even though there was a chance I was wrong, and I just let go of someone who truly loved me with all their heart, there was too many red flags for me to ever fully trust her again. Look at it like this. He had a lot of fun with her, probably in and out of the bedroom, and he'll have a great story to tell the grandkids one day about I almost married this chick. And I was this close and you guys would have been born. Something like that. Also, this was the second time I discussed breaking up with her. The first time was due to opening the clinic after 3 months, which she agreed not to do anymore, so I gave her another chance. Yeah, the whole clinic thing, like another way to get money out of him. So I felt there was no returning from this. Also, my parents reassured me that I'm still young and have lots of opportunities, so no need to dwell on too many of the unknowns. Thank the Lord this guy has the family and friends to talk some sense into him. Yes, he has plenty of opportunities. He wants to be married, have kids one day. That's his business. There's no rush. He's just beginning he needs to fucking work on his career. He's just starting as a doctor, you know? Get years in. Take your time. Believe me, there's going to be plenty of gals chasing after him, and hopefully he'll learn something from this and not fall for some love bombing and bullshit. In the end, I feel like I made the right decision, although I am lying if I said I didn't have any lingering doubts. Thanks for reading. So there you go, guys. There's a lesson for all you relationship guys that get to the point that you start your career, and all of a sudden you have these pretty girls that would never give you the time of day if you're honest when you're younger, giving you attention. Be careful. Take your time. And any gals rushing shit, especially gals that are in their late 20s or 30 or even early 30s, dying to get that ring on their damn finger, be careful. And you got it. You can't. Please use these stories, relationship guys, because I know I got plenty watching this, whether you want to admit it or not, to at least give you in your dating, in your relationship, that you think. You take a step back and really think, is she in this for me or my earning potential? You get the point. And pay attention to red flags. Good Lord. All right, guys, that's it for today. I told you it was a long one. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, if you got a great story like to share, your own personal story, definitely email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it, and I will when I get the chance. I get more and more every day. Also, if you have a question for me, email me your question in the Ask SSM type of video. Put it in the title, Ask SSM, and whatever the hell your question is. And, of course, a good article or a crazy story, whatever. Send them all my way, and I'll definitely cover it in either one of the 3 channels I have. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.